In Many Men 50 Cent said in the Bible, it says what goes around comes around. If that's true, then the story of Richard Fritz Simmons will intrigue you. It was the kind of brilliance that sparked a renaissance, radiating its vibrant energy throughout the world. But decades later, that light dimmed, eclipsed by decay and darkness north of 110th Street. From this gritty foundation, some of the world's most legendary and complex hustlers emerged, men whose lives, though tragic, became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Figures like Bumpy Johnson, Frank Lucas, and A.Z. Faison saw their stories immortalized on the big screen in films such as Hoodlum, The Godfather of Harlem, American Gangster, and Paid in Full. In Paid in Full, Faison, played by Wood Harris, wrote the original screenplay. However, the final product left him dissatisfied. My original screenplay, Trapped, captured key moments of transformation in my life and explored the complexities of hustling, Faison wrote in his memoir Game Over. But Paid in Full didn't hit those marks. It felt like someone took my life, commercialized it, and stripped it of all the truth and power it once held. Hollywood is notorious for embellishing stories, and this one was no different. Yet, author Harlem Holiday has no interest in stretching the truth. Holiday's new book, The Harlem Plug, the Richard Fritz Simmons story, aims to present an authentic portrait of Fritz, whose story has often been overshadowed by urban legend. The streets were talking, spreading lies, Holiday explained in an interview. I wanted to write from the perspective of his family and close friends. Fritz's influence on Harlem was no myth. He moved 300 to 500 kilos of drugs a month, supplying some of the city's most notorious dealers, including Rich Porter. Despite his significant role, Fritz's story has remained largely a murder in the underworld, with only a subtle nod from Nas in the song Get Down as recognition. In Crack, historian David Farber describes drug dealers of Fritz's caliber as thinking like corporate executives. Fritz's relative obscurity can be attributed to his exceptional business acumen. He did what many thought was impossible and did it quietly. His crew was small, just two men, Fritz and his close friends, Ace and Charles "Chucky" Kane. A 1992 New York Times article reported that Chucky was murdered by a kidnapping crew known as the Wild Cowboys after Fritz narrowly escaped an attempt on his life. The following year, 9 members of the Wild Cowboys were charged on multiple murders. While many Kingpins operated large organizations, with lieutenants and workers running shifts, Fritz kept his operation minimal and effective, an uncommon strategy in the world of high-level hustling. In Mr. Untouchable, Nicky Barnes recounts how he meticulously organized his drug operations, placing up to 3 people at different locations to transport his drugs from New Jersey or Queens to his Harlem base. The strategy ensured that no one person was ever responsible for moving the drugs all the way. Barnes always maintained at least 3 layers of separation between himself and the product. As described in Crack, running a large-scale drug operation, whether it's transporting cocaine, running a crack house, or controlling a block, requires careful planning, startup capital, and reliable people. Fritz, however, took an entirely different approach. He didn't follow the typical rules of the game. There were no large crews, no crack houses, and no complicated drug-running networks. His method was simple: stay out of the spotlight, avoid violence, and do the opposite of what others were doing. In the 1970s, Fritz moved with his family from Charleston, South Carolina, to Harlem, settling at 112th Street. It was there that he met Queen Bee, a nurse turned Kingpin, who introduced him to the drug game. At first, Fritz was a rookie, but he quickly rose in the ranks, moving hair on and earning up to $60,000 a week. But success didn't come without its challenges. Queen Bee's cocaine addiction eventually disrupted their relationship, forcing Fritz to part ways with her. This allowed him to branch out and explore other opportunities in the streets. After surviving 5 gunshot wounds resulting from a dispute over a bad batch of drugs from a supplier, Fritz began to form a stronger, more independent operation. He maintained a relationship with an individual from the Medellin cartel, and 2 years after nearly losing his life, Fritz received 15 kilos of cocaine from the cartel. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Instead of assembling a large crew to handle the shipment, Fritz took a unique approach. He gave the cocaine away on consignment. While risky, this strategy paid off. Fritz knew exactly who to trust and where to send the drugs. Within just 2 weeks, he had moved all 15 kilos, earning the title of Consignment King. From then on, Ace would help Fritz transport kilos from the Bronx to Harlem, By moving solo, or with only a few trusted people, Fritz kept his operation low-key, which kept him safe and out of prison. Fritz's ability to maintain a small circle was crucial to his survival. The fewer people who knew about his operations, the better. Despite accumulating millions, Fritz never moved out of his modest apartment at 112th Street, living in isolation, a strategic decision that set him apart from other high-level hustlers like Kevin Childs, Faison, and others who moved to lavish homes in New Jersey or Long Island. Even Nicky Barnes, who was from 112th Street, moved to a luxury condo in Washington Heights. But Fritz remained on the same block, working in harmony with everyone around him. Despite his wealth, Fritz never flaunted his success. He became a beloved figure on 112th Street, known for giving back to the community, helping older residents with grocery money, rent, and back-to-school expenses for their children. Fritz's ability to stay grounded and maintain close ties with his neighborhood helped him keep a low profile, ensuring his place in the streets for years to come. When Donnell Porter, the brother of Rich Porter, was kidnapped and held for a $500,000 ransom, it was Fritz who stepped in and gave Porter 33 kilos of cocaine to help secure his brother's release. Tragically, Donnell was murdered before Porter could gather the ransom. Harlem, known for producing larger-than-life figures, has always been a hub of style, with fashion icons like Dapper Dan, Cameron, and A$AP Rocky all hailing from the area. But Fritz was never part of that flashy scene. As a testament to his frugality, Fritz drove a modest Maxima, while his peers cruised in cars worth $50,000 or more. Fritz's contemporaries on 112th Street weren't known for showing off the finest threads or driving the best cars. Sheila Harrison, Fritz's half-sister, recalled, "If you pulled up on the block with a flashy car, Fritz or one of the guys hustling would tell you to move it." Fritz's low-key demeanor didn't stop rival crews like Preacher's Crew, Lynch Mob, and the Wild Cowboys from trying to take advantage of his success. These groups instilled fear in Harlem's underworld, and Fritz was no exception. Members of the Wild Cowboys made several unsuccessful attempts on Fritz and his family's lives. If you believe in honest hard work, it's difficult to ignore that Fritz played a role in distributing hundreds of kilos of cocaine to various neighborhoods. He contributed to the spread of drug addiction and the violent crimes that followed, including armed robberies targeting dealers and their families. However, Fritz's efforts to ease the financial burdens of his neighbors can't be overlooked, even though the drugs he sold wreaked havoc on the community. It's important to recognize the contradictions of American life. While the U.S. government supported the overthrow of Albania's government and Henry Kissinger signed off on Argentina's dirty war, figures like Fritz are often judged harshly, even though their stories reflect larger systemic issues. According to Fritz's sister, Evelyn Simmons, his life was cut short in 1991 after he was poisoned. Fritz left behind children, millions of dollars in cash, and a brownstone he never lived in. I wrote the Harlem Plug not to glorify the lifestyle Fritz chose, but to explore how he was pushed into it as part of his quest for the American dream, says Holiday. Some of his choices, though wrong, might have been seen as right because of the good he did for his community, almost like an urban Robin Hood. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get this video to 10,000 likes. Don't forget to click the video above for more videos on Underworld Icons.